What's going on, guys? It's your boy Worthy Prince coming at you with another first Descendant video, and in today's video, guys, we're going to be revisiting the Excava assault rifle. Now, I made a video a few weeks ago about this gun when I upgraded the unique ability to get the maximum benefit out of the energy grenade, and I'd put a couple of catalysts in at that point, but I wasn't happy with the damage it was outputting, so I decided to put the gun down, and I hadn't revisited it. Until recently, I decided to go ahead and finish off the gun and max it out and see if this was actually a gun worth building into and seeing if it had good potential. Now, Nexon did recently update this gun with quite an important feature. What they did was they reduced the amount of stacks that you need to generate the energy grenade. They did that to 15. Now, something that's really important to note about this gun is the damage you're going to be doing from the energy grenade itself is going to be based off your base firearm damage times by the number of stacks that you've actually accumulated times 220%, and that's going to be your total damage from your grenade. And the other thing to note as well is, although the gun does have a very, very low base crit damage and crit rate, you can see 3% and 1.2%, don't let that put you off building into a little bit of critical hit rate and damage on this gun, because it does self-generate crit rate as you're shooting. You can see here that when you're at free max stacks of the energy grenade, you are going to be increasing your crit rate of 5 per stack. So yeah, it might be worthwhile and that affects the base crit rate as well, so it might be worth putting in a little bit of crit rate just to help you out with a bit of extra damage from the actual gun itself. So with all that being said, how did I go ahead and do the build? Well, let's jump in and take a look. You can see here that we've got action and reaction and rifling reinforcement to give us extra firearm attack. We do have some critical hit rate and damage. I went for better insight to give us 39% extra critical hit rate, and then I went for concentration priority to give me an extra 120% critical hit damage. And then we increased the weapon size of the magazine by using expand weapon charge and maximize weight balance. And we do this for the simple fact we want more bullets in the gun because we need that to generate the grenades. Okay, so we want to make sure we do that nice and quick and efficiently with one clip of the gun. And then for the rest of this gun, we're working into weak points. So you can see we have weak point sight, we have aiming with the extra 40% weak point damage. That's minus 20 accuracy, which I didn't want because we do a lot of hip firing with this gun. So I put aiming compensation in to give us the accuracy back and also some extra firearm critical hit damage, which is quite welcome. And then we have the weak point quick fire giving us the fire rate, because the quicker we get the bullets in, the quicker we get the grenades built up, and the weak point damage. Now, the whole build, the whole mechanic of this gun is built around hip firing to generate the grenade stacks, which increase your damage, but then you have the payout of firing out that grenade with a big burst of damage when you're ready to do so. So you know how the mechanic works with the fact that you have to hip fire the gun to build up the stacks and then look down the sight to fire your grenade when you're ready for that big payout. And before you do that, you're going to have the increased crit rate and crit damage from the gun's hip fire bullets. Okay, they're going to be enhanced quite nicely. Now, the front of the gun stats look like this. We have weak point damage, firearm attack, fire attack for some extra elemental buff, and I've also gone for rounds per magazine because, you know, we want more bullets in the gun, so I decided to go for rounds per magazine for quality of life. I didn't put no crit damage or crit rate on here because even though we do get a buff on it, it still is a fairly lowish stat, so I decided not to go too heavy on that on the front of the gun. Now, with all that being said, how does this gun perform? So the final stats on the gun with Glay equipped, and I've got nothing on Glay that's boosting any of this. You've got 30,620 firearm attack, and then we've got the firearm crit hit rate of 4.1% standard with 2.7x critical hit damage, and we've got a really nice 2.6x on the weak point damage. Notice that the hip fire accuracy is pretty good too at 95.3. We want that to be really, really accurate. And aim shot accuracy is 99, which is really nice too. And we've got 71 rounds in the magazine with a 735 fire rate. So it's going to shoot fast, and we've got a good amount of bullets in the clip to build up those grenades. And we've got a 2-second reload time. So if we jump out of here, we can take a look, and the first thing we're going to do is build up some stacks. So let's go ahead and look at the damage on building up the stacks. And you can see there's not much recoil here. We're hitting for about 31,000 for the white numbers, and the crits that are popping up are hitting for about 85,000. And you can see there's actually quite a lot of orange numbers popping up there, isn't there, considering we had such a low amount of crit rate. And for the headshots, we're getting around 97,000 per week point hit. And we're hitting for 265,000 when we get the big crits, which incorporate the weak point and the critical hit damage. So 265,000, and that pops up quite frequently. And that's not actually that bad damage. That's actually pretty good. Now notice we have 3 stacks of the grenade right now. But if we go back into the gun stats, you can see our critical hit rate has now raised to a more impressive 25%, which is 1 in 4 bullets that are going to crit. So that's actually not too bad. A lot better than 4%, that's for sure. Now, I know there are some Descendants you could use to ramp that up even further, like Valby with her Supply Moisture. You could use Haley with her 3 that increases crit rate. And you could also use someone like Blair that also has a very good gun build that can boost up crit rate. And that would make the gun even more powerful than it is now. And so that's something to bear in mind. But regardless of what Descendant you put this gun into the hands of, it's still going to be pretty lethal with the bullets. It's not maybe quite as damage dealing as something like the Enduring Legacy. I would take that, you know, actually absolutely fine. You know, that's going to be difficult to beat. And it's not quite as damaging on the AoE when it goes as far as mobbing when it comes to something like the Thunder Cage. But for single target damage, if we're hitting here for 265, that's not actually that terrible. But now we move on to the final part of this gun, which is the big part, the main reason we got the gun, the reason why you level it up and get the duplicates, the reason why we build it up is because we want to see what kind of payout we're going to get from the energy grenade. Now we're at 3 stacks of this energy grenade, and we're going to go ahead and shoot the enemy in the middle because I want to see if it has any AoE damage. Is it going to hurt the enemies around the energy grenade when it goes off? I don't know. So let's go ahead and let's shoot this. We've got the extra enhanced crit rate and everything. We're going to go for a headshot and let's check out the damage. So as you can see, we hit a couple of weak points there for 97,000, and then we hit 202,000 as the main bulk of the damage. So we're looking at thereabouts around 400,000 damage for the big payoff. And I have to be honest with you, it's very lackluster. I would like to see this gun get buffed. I would like to see the base crit rate increase maybe just a smidge, and I would definitely like to see more damage added to that energy grenade. Unfortunately, it still is extremely lackluster. There's absolutely 0 AoE damage, and I think when you've got guns like Thunder Cage in the game that create massive AoE damage everywhere across enemies, I don't think it's too unreasonable to put extra AoE damage on this grenade and make it hit a lot harder than it does. I'll hit this enemy again. I mean, that was like 300,000 damage. Very, very lackluster. So what do I think of this gun in final review? It's a good gun. I like the mechanic. It does do damage and you will kill enemies with this gun. But the reason we get it and the reason we level it up is because we want the payoff of being able to fire out that energy grenade. Yes, it's very nice to be able to be in a fight and increase my crit rate, you know, as I build up these stacks and I'm hip firing, which is very accurate, by the way. There's literally no recoil or movement on that. You can be very accurate with this gun. You know, my crit rate is going up and I'm seeing nice orange numbers here. 265,000 is nice to see, and it's coming up quite frequently. But when I fire that energy grenade, I want damage, and what I'm getting is like 400,000 damage, and that right there just won't do. And because of that reason, it just won't become a regular gun for me to use, and that's a real shame because whoever designed this gun, it's got a lot of innovation to it. I like the mechanic, I like the way this gun plays. I really enjoy the playstyle actually of hip firing and then going down the sight with the grenade, but we need more damage. So please, Nexon, buff this Excava, give us the damage that grenade deserves. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Do you think Nexon should buff the Excava's grenade damage? Have your say down below. Let's get this Excava buffed so we can have some fun with this gun. And that's all I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more First Descendant content, and I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, stay safe everyone, and of course, peace out.